Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Today we're on a journey with Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret once more. The experiences come from the book Elizabeth and Margaret, and I've really enjoyed learning about the sisters from this book. When we last popped in on them, Princess Margaret was causing a scandal by seeing a man 18 years her junior. Pictures appeared in the newspaper, and she was found to be staying at a commune where her young guy was. So let's see what happens next. Lord Snowdon was very happy to see all the stories about Princess Margaret in the newspapers. While he was at Kensington Palace, he called for Lord Napier, and he wanted to know about the photos. And Napier pointed out the hypocrisy, saying that Margaret and Roddy were in a relationship, just as he was having an affair with the TV producer Lucy Lindsay Hogg. The difference was that Tony had been able to find discretion in his affair. Tony wasn't happy with Napier's answer and said, "We're moving out by the end of the week." Well, Napier was happy to hear the news, and he called Princess and Mystique, and since long-distance calls couldn't be private, he used a code to let her know. He told her, "Ma'am, I've been talking to Robert, and he's given in his notice." The princess paused, not sure what he meant, and she said, "Nigel, have you been taking leave of your senses? What exactly did you say?" And Napier said, "Robert has given his notice." Margaret paused again, and then remembered that Tony's third Christian name was Robert. Then she said, "Oh, I see. Thank you, Nigel. I think that's the best news you've ever given me." So Tony moved out of Kensington Palace and wrote the Queen saying that he had been publicly humiliated and was the injured party. The Queen had hoped that they could resolve their differences, but it didn't work. Tony had kept his affair private while Princess Margaret made the front pages of the newspapers. Separation was the best thing for the both of them. The two kids were to stay with Princess Margaret at Kensington Palace, and their father could visit whenever he wanted to. He would receive a six-figure sum from Margaret in order to get his own property. It was officially announced that they were going to live apart. The princess would carry out her public duties and functions unaccompanied by Lord Snowdon, and there were no plans for divorce proceedings. Queen Elizabeth was dismayed by all the events that happened. She was sad that Margaret might never find happiness. Princess Margaret was religious, but she was a woman who gave in to the temptations of men over and over. She craved love and companionship inside and outside the marriage. Her faith was a blessing and a curse. It gave her comfort, but it made her feel guilty. The Queen was also concerned with Margaret's children. She adored the children and felt that Lord Snowdon was a good father. The Queen spent time with the children and had them over at holidays at Balmoral and weekends at Windsor. A friend observed that they loved the Queen and she loved them. Lord Snowdon flew to Australia to prepare for an exhibition of his photographs. When he first appeared on TV, he looked upset. He said he wanted to say three things. Firstly, pray for the understanding of our children. Secondly, to wish Princess Margaret every happiness for her future. And thirdly, to express with the utmost humility my love, admiration, and respect I will always have for her sister, her mother, and her entire family. It was a public relations success. Princess Margaret commented acidly, "I've never seen such good acting." Roddy, in the meantime, was hiding out on a farm of his friend Diane Salento. He gave the press a brief statement stating that he regretted the embarrassment caused by Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family, for whom I wish to express the greatest respect, admiration, and loyalty. He asked for privacy, but that probably wouldn't happen. Margaret spent time with her mother at Royal Lodge or with friends who kept her company, and her royal duties brought her back to life. She made state visits to Monaco, Morocco, Cyprus, Italy, and the United States. Some evenings she spent with a new friend, Elton John. He enchanted the princess and the Queen Mother, giving them a private royal command performance at Royal Lodge. In 1977, the Queen and Prince Philip visited Mystique for the first time. They were on the yacht Britannia. They viewed with Princess Margaret Le Jolie Aux, I'm not sure about that, and enjoyed a picnic on the beach. The Queen went swimming, which was rare, in Macaroni Bay. Prince Philip went snorkeling in Black Sand Bay, where he saw sharks giving birth. It was thought that Roddy might be there when the Queen was, but he flew from London after they left. The Queen didn't approve of Roddy. He was in her life. He soothed her, consoled her, lifted her spirits. They started to go out in public, to the theater. They even swam in the swimming pool at Buckingham Palace. When guests got used to Tony not being there, they thought Roddy was amusing and thoughtful toward the princess. Roddy decided to do an album of easy listening standards. It charted briefly on the BBC and then disappeared. And he even sang a song with Petula Clark. In the spring, he flew out to join Margaret on Mustique. When he got there, he soon became ill, and he was flown to a hospital in Barbados for observation. 2 days later, the princess visited, and she spent her time in the sun as Roddy recovered, so this didn't go over well with the public. His illness came at a time where there was a parliamentary review of payments to members of the royal family on the civil list, the funds allocated to the members of the royal family by the taxpayer. The princess was named a royal parasite by one lawmaker. Lawmakers, bishops, and the public saw her as a separated mother of two, and they felt the collapse of the marriage was her fault. Roddy was encouraging her self-indulgent behavior. This was affecting the monarchy, and the Queen and her advisors were getting worried. The Queen loved Princess Margaret, but was puzzled why she was fixated on a much younger man who didn't seem to be worthy of her attention or affection. In April, the tabloid paper The Sun printed a headline saying, "Give up Roddy or quit," all in caps. This information was false. Princess Margaret never talked to the Queen about Roddy or her allowance. The Queen was concerned about her sister and felt that she was going through some bad times in her life. A friend of the Queen said the Queen wondered, "What am I going to do with her?" There was talk about whether Princess Margaret should be removed from the civil list and allowed to lead a private life. According to the Daily Telegraph, the Queen really objected to this. She pointed out that Princess Margaret did a lot to support her and the monarchy, and she had been given a bad rap. Roddy didn't do Princess Margaret any good. An opinion poll published in 1978 stated that nearly 3/4 of the public felt that the relationship harmed Margaret's standing as a member of the royal family. And one had wondered if she had been seen an older and wealthy man, if they would have cared so much. Tony was seeing a younger woman, and they were hardly mentioning that in the media. The divorce and seeing Roddy had taken its toll on the princess. She wasn't able to attend her daughter's confirmation on April 5th, 1978 because of severe flu. She ended up in an isolation ward at King Edward VII's hospital suffering from hepatitis. The doctors told her to stop drinking alcohol and stick to barley water instead. When she got released from the hospital, she was divorced, and her looks had changed. She looked gray, exhausted, and very middle-aged. The doctors advised her not to do any engagements for a month. Princess Margaret stated that she had no plans to remarry and wanted to commit the rest of her life to serving the Queen. I will end the video here. In this video, we see the marriage of Princess Margaret and Tony end. Princess Margaret continued to see Roddy, which at that time was scandalous. No one approved of cougars at that time, and the Queen was worrying about Princess Margaret not only affecting the monarchy, but also worrying about her as a sister. She wanted the princess to be happy as she was in her marriage and happy about life in general. The next video, we'll see what happened between Margaret and Roddy and what else was happening during the 70s and 1980s. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. Tune in again soon for another episode of Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.